Welcome back. Today, we are digging into AI governance. And I know, that sounds super dry, like something from a corporate compliance seminar, right? But stick with me, because this is where the real battle for the future of AI is being fought. And it all comes down to one fundamental question. When a company builds an AI, who is it really built to serve? Is it for the shareholders, or is it for you, the customer?
Okay, so just to set the stage, we're now in part 7 of our deep dive into a major report from Virtualization Options LLC. This whole series is looking at how different companies train their AI teams. And today's piece of the puzzle? It's all about governance. You know, the rules of the road, and how they split in completely different directions depending on that core mission we just talked about. All right, let's get into it.
So let's just put that question right up front, because it's the key to literally everything we're about to talk about. When a company designs its AI, who is the ultimate beneficiary of all its protections? Is it the investors and the stock price, or is it the everyday user and their trust? The answer to that question dictates every single policy, every line of code, and every training session that follows.
Now, these different approaches don't just get dreamed up in a boardroom out of thin air. No way. They're forged in a pressure cooker of intense external demands. And for those companies that are laser-focused on shareholder value, that pressure comes directly from the people and the institutions holding the stock. And that pressure, it is absolutely exploding. In just the last couple of years, AI-related shareholder proposals have quadrupled. That's not a slow simmer. That is a full-on boil-over. Investors have seen high-profile AI mistakes tank stock prices, and now they're demanding to see the receipts on how these companies are managing these massive new risks.
And you better believe companies are listening. We're now at a point where over 31% of large public firms have dedicated board-level AI oversight. I mean, think about that. That's a huge shift. It puts AI risk on the same level as financial audits and CEO pay, right at the very top of the corporate food chain.
And here's the engine that's driving all that change. 2/3, 67% of major institutional investors now have AI governance listed as a key priority. We're talking about the huge funds that can make or break a company's stock. The message they're sending is crystal clear. If you want our money, you have to prove you've got a plan to keep your AI from going off the rails.
But then you look at customer-focused organizations, and the pressure is coming from a completely different universe. It's not about quarterly reports or investor calls, it's all about the relationship with their users. For these companies, trust isn't just some nice-to-have marketing buzzword, it's the whole game. It's the entire business model. You lose that, and you've lost everything.
So you've got these two very different forces pushing from the outside. And no surprise, this leads to two completely different internal playbooks for how to actually govern AI. So let's take a look at how they really differ in practice.
Okay, so this is the crucial point right here. For a shareholder-focused firm, governance is basically a shield. It's a defensive strategy designed to protect the company's bottom line from lawsuits, regulatory fines, and bad PR. But for a customer-focused firm, governance is a bridge. It's built proactively to create and strengthen that bond of trust with its users. See the difference? One plays defense, the other plays offense.
So, when your goal is to build that bridge of trust, what are the actual building blocks? Well, for these companies, it's all about the user's experience. It means fiercely protecting their privacy. It means actively working to root out bias in the system. It means being transparent about how the AI is making decisions. And, this is a big one, always keeping a human in the loop for the choices that really matter. Each one of these pillars is a promise made directly to the customer.
These high-level philosophies are great and all, but how do they actually show up in day-to-day work? Well, it all comes down to training. This is where the rubber meets the road, where policy becomes practice. And it's where you can really see the massive difference between training people to follow rules versus training them to build relationships.
In a shareholder value firm, training is this very top-down cascade of compliance. You can almost think of it like a chain of command. It starts with the board. They learn about risk. Then they pass those directives down to the executives, who then train their teams to implement the specific policies. It's structured, it's hierarchical, and it is focused on one thing: making sure everyone follows the rules to protect the company.
On the other hand, customer-focused firms take a totally different approach. They often use methods like scenario-based learning. So instead of just memorizing a rulebook, employees get dropped into these simulated, real-world customer situations. They have to wrestle with tough ethical problems. Like, what do you do when the AI suggests something that's super efficient but might really damage a customer's trust? The goal isn't just compliance. It's to develop real, practical judgment.
And this brings us to a really powerful final point. We often talk about governance like it's a burden, right? A checklist of annoying rules you just have to follow. But what the research shows is that it's actually a powerful strategic tool, and when it's aligned with a company's core purpose, it creates a massive competitive advantage. Let's just break it down really simply. For the shareholder value firm, the strategic goal of governance is to mitigate risk. And the result? You get increased investor confidence and a more stable market valuation. Makes sense. For the customer-focused firm, the goal is building trust. The result of that? You get fierce brand loyalty and a powerful way to stand out from the crowd. Both are powerful strategies, just aimed at very different targets.
So in the end, a company's approach to governing its AI, it's like a mirror. It doesn't just reflect a boring set of policies. It reflects what that company truly values, who it ultimately serves, and what, at its very core, it thinks is most important to protect. You could say it reflects its soul. Something to think about the next time you interact with an AI. Thanks for tuning in.